Thank you, Laura. Thank you to everybody at Indivisible, to Earth and Water Watch, the Baird Center, Planned Parenthood, Working Families Represent Us, the Reverend Bob Moore for, at this point, I don't know how many decades,
43 years.
for 43 years of fighting the good fight. Let me begin in a way that I never anticipated beginning, but by talking about the fact that I only want to live in a country where free speech is allowed, where the ability to protest on any topic you want is allowed, where truth matters, where your voice matters, and we cannot do that unless we are indivisible today and every single day. So let me start with good news, and then I'm going to move not to bad news, because I have no bad news, but let me then move to hopeful news. So let's start with good news. Let's talk about what's happening here in New Jersey. The Reverend Moore talked about the horrific statistics when it comes to gun violence, the fact that we lose 50,000 Americans every year to unnecessary gun violence. Let's talk about what happens here within the state of New Jersey when you have a governor and a state legislature and county governments and local governments all working together. New Jersey has and will remain one of the safest places in the country when it comes to preventing gun violence. But we are not done. Well, that is a true statement. There are bills in the state legislature that we will pass to ensure that we can raise the voting age when it comes to purchasing a gun from 18 to 21, and I am proud to be the sponsor of that in the New Jersey Senate. We have passed decades ago laws stopping semi-automatic weapons. We will continue to strengthen that and to stop ghost weapons and 3D printed plastic weapons from being brought into this state. And we will also continue to do community policing, where we bring mental health professionals in when appropriate to ensure that what is happening when it comes to guns and mental health, we can pull these apart and address the root cause of what is happening with so much of the gun violence in this country. Then let's move on to essential health care and abortion. In New Jersey, we codified the protections of Roe versus Wade even before the Dobbs decision, because we knew, again, that if we were together, if we were indivisible, that we could ensure that women in New Jersey have their basic health care rights. But we have more to do, and Caitlin talked about that. Because right now, while we codified the protections of Roe v. Wade, what we haven't done yet is ensure that it doesn't matter where in New Jersey you live. It doesn't matter your income. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. It doesn't matter your religion, that you have access to the health care and abortion services you need. And Caitlin and Planned Parenthood and all of us together are going to make sure that that happens in the months that are ahead. When it comes to voting rights, New Jersey continues to work in the way that we all want, to say that each of us has the most, it's sacred thing, the most power that we have, which is that ability to vote. And we are going to make it easier here in New Jersey, and we continue to make it easier when it comes to expanding early voting, when it comes to making it easier to have vote by mail. When you make a simple mistake on your mail-in ballot, no longer is it thrown out, but because of the work that Working Families has done, what the League of Women Voters has done, what so many people here, because we are together, has done, is ensure that voting in New Jersey will continue to be a fundamental right for each of us, and we have more to do. For environmental protection, Charlie took us through some of the rulings that are going on right now. But we will continue to look at what we can do at the state level to ensure that you have a right here in New Jersey to clean water, to clean air, that we show the rest of the country what it means to be a climate change leader when it comes to solar energy or geothermal energy or wind energy. And I can't help myself because many of you know my background, and one day fusion energy. But the reality is that when we go into the nitty-gritty, there is so much that we have to do. So for example, we will ensure whether it's air or water, but even what is in our food. When the Europeans are getting rid of harmful chemicals, New Jersey has got to lead the way that we do the same. And I am proud that we have legislation right now to remove some of these harmful chemicals just out of the food that we eat, because we know the impact when it comes to what we eat and who we are, whether we are a child or an adult. And again, New Jersey is going to lead that way because we are together. And finally, to Sarah and everyone at the Barrett Center for what they are doing, and all of your sister organizations when it comes to protecting people because of who they are as individuals and who they want to love. Again, New Jersey leads that way. Because let's not forget something. There is another name for a trans child. It's a child.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And that person, regardless of their gender identity, regardless of anything, deserves and must have fundamental basic protections here in New Jersey, because if we can do it here in New Jersey, and we are, then we can show the rest of the country what it means to love and respect people simply because they are a human being. We have more to do. And so I am hopeful. I'm proud of all of us and what we are doing here in New Jersey, but I am genuinely hopeful for what is about to come, because as Vice President Harris said when she accepted the nomination to be the Democratic candidate for president in Chicago not very long ago, even though it feels like it was quite some time, everything that's going on, what did she say? She said, we have a chance to write the next great chapter in the American story. And that is what's in front of us in the next 2 weeks. Because the reality is, whether it is about the filibuster, whether it is about ethics reform at the Supreme Court, whether it is about the number of Supreme Court justices, we have the ability to write the next great American chapter in our history. And so I urge you, if you have a few dollars to give to Kamala Harris, give those dollars. If you have a few minutes to make a phone call or write a postcard, Nick and the PCDO are somewhere over here. Go to the headquarters up on Nassau Street and write a postcard. And if you have a few hours to join us in Pennsylvania, because we know that the reality is that this election is most likely decided by our neighbor just a short distance, then come knock doors. Because the question becomes, what can we do and what will you do over the next couple of weeks? Because I remain optimistic that in really 2 weeks from now, we are going to elect Kamala Harris to be the next president of this United States, elect Andy Kim to be the next United States Senator, and around this country, elect members of Congress who have said, you know what, enough is enough. And I refuse to be divided by hateful rhetoric. I refuse to be divided by people who just want to pull us apart, who want to go back. As she says, we are not going back. We are only going forward into the next great chapter of this beautiful country here in New Jersey and throughout. Thank you very much.